Solidarity Organization now being held in Chandigarh. Today is the last day. Yesterday, inaugural session was there, and now delegate session is going on. People are discussing on the political and organization. As a practice of All India Peace and Solidarity Organization, as we are part of the also World Peace Council, so we invited some of the important countries from to attend our conference. We just invited 8 organizations, those who are having a very important position in World Peace Council. I'm sorry to say that two are missing because they didn't get visa in time. But anyway, let me introduce myself that I'm the so then website comrade Victor from Cuba. He came far from Cuba to attend our conference. He representing ICAP, the Friendship Organization of Cuba. Then comrade Prandak Loy, he is coming from Vietnam. He is the standing vice president of the Vietnam Peace Council. And Comrade Iraklis, he is the executive secretary of the World Peace Council. So practically, we are discussing in our conference some national issues because our conference is taking place under the theme of in defense of constitutional values, world peace, and anti-imperialism. So this is very clear that we are trying to place our political understanding and globally also. So we just starting a discussion, and mainly we are discussing about the present situation in India, the way the ruling dispensation is moving, that is challenging our constitutional values. So, as a citizens of India, we thought that it will be our main priority to defend our constitution, its values, and at the same time, it's also linked to it, our foreign policy of the government of India. Because from the very beginning, India government having a very positive position on the issue of international development. India was never part of any bloc, neither NATO or Warsaw, but at the same time, India, along with NASET and many others developing countries, they formed the non-aligned movement after the Bangladesh conference. Till 1991, if you believe that the foreign policy of India was very positive to respond to the international development, India stood by the national liberation movement of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and also South Africa, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Angola, all whatever you name after the Second World War, when people are fighting against the Portuguese, the Americans, and against the apartheid regime in South Africa, India play very important role. So हिंदी अच्छा इसके लिए इंडिया को नॉन अलाइंड समिट का भी चेयरमैन बनाया गया था 1983 में which was presented by none other than Comrade Fidel Castro Ruz. तो लेकिन आज जो हो रहा है फॉरेन पॉलिसी में, देखिए गांधी जी आज नहीं 1930s में वो होरिजन पेपर जो निकलते थे वो उसमें बोला था कि as we are fighting for our independence, Palestinian people are also fighting there for homeland, and they have every right to have their homeland. So स्वाधीनता का पहले से ही हम लोग पैलेस्टीनियन पीपल के साथ दिया, उसको पास लड़ाई किया, पीएलओ को रिकॉग्नाइज किया, सब कुछ किया। लेकिन अभी हम लोग का जो पॉलिसी है that is goes against our fundamental understanding of on the issue of Palestine, because they are the only oldest liberation movement which could not achieve their goal due to the present international development. And India, though Palestine also recognized two-state theory, but for India, now they are more tilt towards Israel than forget their other task also. Even other ways also, that as a big country, we are emerging as a big economy, big country, everything is okay. But where is our friend? We have a problem with the Bangladesh, we have a problem with Sri Lanka, we have a problem with Pakistan, we have a problem with China. Now there is no initiative to having a very good neighborly relation with our our borderly countries, and particularly when we are at Chandigarh. I know the feelings of the people of Punjab here, because there are other parties other side of the border. They want to have a better understanding with Pakistan. And what is wrong? When Gujarat became a prime minister of India, there was a new doctrine called Gujarat doctrine. The main understanding of that doctrine was कि भारत को सबको प्रतिवेशी के साथ अच्छा संपर्क बनाना चाहिए. वो that include also China. Some of our people may like China or may dislike, but you cannot ignore China. China is the emerging power. Now already they are second economic power, and within 2025 they will be replacing US also as a economic power. How you can ignore them? So our position is very clear, that try to develop friendly relation with our neighborly countries, and through diplomatic means. And there is no need. If you have a very good relation with your neighborly countries, there is no need to increase your military budget day by day, day by day, day by day. And while the budget for other social welfare scheme is getting down. So without taking much of time, we do believe all these important developments are also creating instability, not in the political life of our country, personal life of people, but at the same time, it also challenge the how to say the issue of peace. So our peace and solidarity movement wanted to reconnect all these things, and our main slogan is also there: think globally, act locally. So you can see that we are going and we are moving forward, taking into consideration all this international development and how it connected with our own cause to move forward for achieving peace and solidarity. So if other comrades want to say something. So,
जैसे साथी पल्लव ने बताया
अच्छा भाई सब उधर करने पड़ा.
ये एक ही से हो जाता है जैसे साथी पल्लव ने बताया गया है, हमारा शांति और एकजुटता जो संगठन है उसकी अधिवेशन यहाँ पे हो रहा है, और हम इस मुद्दे के ऊपर इन मुद्दे के ऊपर चर्चा कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, जैसे उक्रेन के युद्ध हो या फलस्तीन के ऊपर जो इसराइल के द्वारा जो हमला हो रहा है, ये दुनिया भर की जो स्थितियां हैं उसके परिणाम जो है हमारा जनता के ऊपर काफी पड़ रहा है। इसीलिए हमारा जनता के हित के लिए भी हमारा विदेश नीति में बदलाव ले आना जरूरत है। इसीलिए हमारा संगठन किस तरीके से आने वाले दिनों में काम करना चाहिए इसके बारे में हमें चर्चा कर रहा है। और दूसरी बात जो है, हमारा देश की अंदर की जो स्थितियां, हमारा देश के अंदर जो जनता की जो अधिकार दिया गया है हमारा संविधान ने, उस अधिकार के ऊपर काफी बड़े पैमाने पे हमला आज की तारीख में हम देख रहा है। ना बोलने का स्वतंत्र है, ना कुछ हमारा प्रतिरोध व्यक्त करने का स्वतंत्र है। इसीलिए हमारा संविधान के जो अधिकार को बचाने के लिए, संविधान को बचाने के लिए हम आने वाले दिनों में कुछ योजना भी हम तय करने वाला है इस अधिवेशन में। और तीसरा मुद्दे जो है, अगले साल जो बापू जी का 75वीं सालगिरह होगा उनको कत्ल करके, इस 75वीं जो सालगिरह है उसमें हम बापू जी किस विरासत हमको दिया है, किस मुद्दे के ऊपर अपने जान कुर्बान देना पड़ा है, इन मुद्दे के बारे में, अपने उनकी विचारधारा के बारे में हम जनता के बीच में जाएंगे और जनता को एकजुट करेंगे और धर्म के आधार पे जो राजनीति चला रहा है उसके खिलाफ हम जनता को इकट्ठा करेंगे। ये खास तौर पे हमारा मुद्दे यहाँ पे जो चर्चा कर रहा है। थैंक यू।
Now I request our Maltese Council Executive Secretary.
So, Workplace Council, an organization of almost 75 years of life and struggle, worldwide present in 5 continents and in more than 90 countries, has a prestigious leadership member, the All India Peace and Solidarity Organization, which is present here by Palab Sengupta and Arun Kumar. And in our last World Assembly, Congress of the World Peace Council, last year, in November, hosted a very hospitable and generous way by the Vietnamese people and the Vietnam Peace Committee. We analyzed the situation in the world and made our assessments and conclusions, and we elected a new leadership. And we are very glad and proud that we have a new leadership, a new president organization, the All India Peace and Solidarity Organization, and Comrade Palab Sengupta as the new president of the WPC, the World Peace Council. The World Peace Council was all over its almost 75 years. Next year we will be 75 years. Was always on the side of the poor and of the oppressed, of the poor in each country and in each region, and the oppressed as nations for their liberation struggle and their just cause. For us, we are not neutral towards class inequalities or towards aggressions and occupation of forces inside interfering in domestic affairs of other countries occupying their sovereign territory. World Peace Council was always on the right side of history, always against imperialism, whether it was expressed by US or by NATO or today by European Union or by the United Kingdom, Britain, and so on. So in this context, we are concerned and we are deeply concerned about the developments in the region of Asia and Pacific. We are not happy with the alignment of India's foreign policy more and more with imperialist projects and plans in the region, participating in the quadrilateral, the so-called Quad, playing a role against historical friends and allies India had, as Comrade Palab said earlier. The issue of Palestine in India was always, and it is amongst the people, a very high-ranked issue, but not anymore apparently for the government, and we regret that very much. So the World Peace Council will continue by its principles, which are principles of the right for self-determination of each nation, the right to choose its path of development, as the comrades and friends, our brothers and sisters did in Vietnam and Cuba during struggles, including armed struggles in Vietnam and the revolution in 1959 in Cuba, where the peoples of Cuba and Vietnam, as examples, became the masters of their wealth and of their future. And this is a symbol which is a source of inspiration for the World Peace Council. Last but not least, since 1 year, there is a war, a NATO-Russia war on the territory, on the soil of Ukraine. World Peace Council takes principal positions in this war. We don't close our eyes on everything what happened before the official breakout of the war for 8 years, 2014 till 2022. All the encirclement of Russia by NATO, all the provocations and the attacks on Ukrainian population in the eastern part of Ukraine, all the enlargement efforts of NATO, which now continues with the affiliation of Sweden and Finland. But at the same time, World Peace Council, by principle, is against any unilateral recognition of territories and against the violation of international law as such. We believe that all these conflicts and war should be resolved in peaceful and democratic way, in political way, reminding all of us how the peoples of Russia and Ukraine were living in peace and fraternity together during the existence of the Soviet Union for more than 70 years. They were brothers and sisters, and this war is not the war of the peoples. Thank you very much.
Now I request Comrade Victor from Cuba.
No, no, primero tú dices.
Comment now, the people want to ask questions. If you are okay with that.
Yes, they will to speak to you.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Víctor Gaute,
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Galton,
soy vicepresidente del Instituto Cubano de Amistad con los Pueblos,
Vice President of the Cuban Institute of Friendship with the People,
una organización creada por nuestro comandante en jefe Fidel y la Revolución,
The ICAP was founded for the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro,
que trabaja permanentemente en fomentar la amistad, la solidaridad, la paz y la soberanía de los pueblos.
and the ICAP work for developing the solidarity, the friendship, and the peace between the people.
Estamos muy agradecidos por la invitación y la posibilidad de participar en esta conferencia nacional de paz en la India.
We are very happy to attend this important national conference of the ICAP here in India,
Y también estamos muy agradecidos de toda la solidaridad que recibimos del pueblo indio.
and we are very grateful for the solidarity that Cuba received for the Indian people.
En esta conferencia, magnífica conferencia, hemos trasladado 3 ideas que nos parecen muy importantes.
In this national conference, we are extend 3 very important ideas.
En primer lugar,
First,
la condena a la política genocida del gobierno de los Estados Unidos contra nuestro pueblo.
we condemn the policy of the United States against Cuba,
Que se expresa en el recrudecimiento del bloqueo económico, comercial y financiero,
and the reinforcement of the blockade of the United States against the Cuban people,
y que provoca enormes daños a la vida económica y social del país y a las familias cubanas.
that damage the Cuban people, the families, and the economic of Cuba.
Por otro lado, hemos también señalado que nuestro país sigue su lucha y condena por la existencia de las bases militares extranjeras,
We condemn the military base in
en
other countries,
las bases militares extranjeras,
the foreign military base,
expresión de lo cual es la base naval norteamericana que existe en Guantánamo, territorio de Cuba,
and especially we condemn the military base in Guantánamo, Cuba,
y que existe en contra de la voluntad de nuestro gobierno y pueblo.
and exists against the voluntary of the Cuban, the government people.
Esa presencia data de 120 años y es la base más antigua fuera del territorio norteamericano que existe en el mundo.
Is the military base more
Ciento-
the biggest and oldest military base of the
Out
United
of-
States
out of
out of the
Y unido a ello hemos vuelto a insistir que la posición de Cuba contra la lista espuria del gobierno de los Estados Unidos de países que presuntamente patrocinan el terrorismo.
And we insist in the spurious list of the country that sponsors the terrorism.
El pueblo de Cuba ha soportado durante más de 60 años diversas acciones que son expresión del terrorismo de Estado que practica el gobierno norteamericano.
Cuba has been a victim of the terrorism for more than 60 years.
Y condenamos todas las formas de terrorismo que puedan ser desarrolladas en el mundo.
And we condemn all the form of the terrorism.
Nuestro país es signatario de todos los acuerdos internacionales que van dirigidos a fomentar y preservar la paz,
Um,
signatario de convenios.
we are a commitment with all the international treaties that develop the peace and the solidarity.
Y también abogamos porque los conflictos que ocurren hoy en el mundo se resuelvan de la forma amigable y en términos de respeto a la soberanía de los pueblos.
Um, we are out for the solution, the Pacific solution, and the allowing the international conflicts.
Estamos ratificando que la posición de Cuba será promover por todas las vías espacios de paz, como lo representa el acuerdo del 2014 de declarar a la América Latina y el Caribe como zona de paz en La Habana.
Um,
Ratificando
we
que
ratify
la postura
our
de
position
Cuba es
of
estimular el desarrollo de la paz,
the peace,
ejemplo de lo cual constituye el acuerdo de paz de América Latina y el
and
Caribe
for
como
example,
zona de
it's a
paz.
proclamation of the Zone of Peace of the the Latin American Caribbean.
Es un acuerdo en el marco de la CELAC del 2014.
It's an agreement in the concept of the CELAC organization.
Finalmente agradecemos la hospitalidad, agradecemos el cariño que
We
hemos
like to send
recibido
the hospitality and the warm welcome received here in Chandigarh
y,
in India.
y estamos seguros que junto al pueblo de la India seguiremos estrechando nuestros vínculos que datan de muchos años, que son históricos y culturales. Muchas gracias.
We are interested in developing and strengthening the historical and cultural links and friendship between Cuba and India.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
So, for the guy from Vietnam, then you can ask.
Okay.
I'm Chandak Loy, and I'm here representing the Vietnam Peace Committee, the long-standing and closest friend of the All India Peace and Solidarity organizations. I am here to convey to member of AFSO and all Indian people the most sincere thanks and deep appreciation of the Vietnamese people for the solidarity and support that Indian people has rendered to the people of Vietnam during our liberation struggle against American imperialist aggression. And by participating in this national conference, I would like also to use this opportunity to discuss with the leadership of ISO about the measures to strengthen bilateral relations between our two organizations and to promote exchange among the people, between people of our two countries, in order to bring people of Vietnam and people of India closer to each other. We together with IFSO been joining with other peace-loving organizations of the world to contribute to the struggle for the world peace and justice. And I would like to emphasize on the importance of the success of this national conference of APSO, and I wish that APSO will continue to play an important role and make a greater contribution to the struggles of the people for the world peace and justice.
As you people have explained the atmosphere in the world in India, and it appears to, as per your narrative, it appears to very grim. So then, how you witness and evaluate the performance of the bodies like World Peace Council and its effectiveness over the decades?
You want to say something? So, the World Peace Council, as I mentioned, it's 74 years next year, completing 75 years. When the world, when the World Peace Council was founded, the world was a different one. On the ashes of the Second World War, the main slogan, the founder generation, was no more war, no more fascism. Can somebody say that this is valid today still? Yes, in its way, in the new conditions, because fascism today is being an expression of a system, of an imperialist world system, which is using also reactionary forces. Look at the Middle East with the ISIS, the Islamic State, which was created by by themselves, by the U.S. imperialists and their allies. It's an expression of fascism. Is it an expression also of fascism when you look at the Palestine, the occupied Palestine, the or the law, the national so-called national law inside Israel, where if you are not of the same religion, Jewish in particular, the non-Jewish citizens inside Israel have no rights. They will be discriminated. This reminds us of an apartheid state, not even how to say an apartheid-like. It is an apartheid state, and the current developments prove that. Or when we speak about war, do we mean only the guns, the bombs, or even the atomic bombs as they fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? No, war is also what is being imposed on people who have not enough to live and they die from hunger, from curable diseases in Africa. The $2.1 trillion annually spent on military expenditure. Even 5% of this money would be enough to solve all the major problems in the world of hunger, underdevelopment, illiteracy, curable diseases, clean water, and so on. So, World Peace Council stands on the same side as in 1949, on the side of the poor and the oppressed, taking always sides with the people's interests, people's rights, people's just cause for self-determination, for independence, for sovereignty, for non-interference in each other affairs. And there cannot be, because somebody is a super big force, can bully his neighbor or his neighbors in any parts or corner of the world. World Peace Council is by principle, by DNA, by definition, an anti-imperialist organization uniting in its ranks, peace-loving organization, peaceful,
My question
peace-loving.
is pertaining to the effectiveness of the bodies.
The effectiveness, the correlation of forces, dear friends, is a very negative one. We cannot deny the fact, and we can only regret, and we can only put our forces together, since the enemies of peace are acting together, united, with its contradictions and antagonisms, but together against the people. So the peoples have, through their popular workers and peoples and peace-loving organizations, youth and students, women organizations, to unite in order to confront the enemy of peace. The enemy of peace is in many ways expressed. It is also the multinationals in the pharma industry, in the pharmaceutical industries, who, when millions of people lost their lives from COVID-19, they were multiplying their profits, not only through the vaccines and other medicines. But look, there is also another type of apartheid, the vaccine apartheid. Look at the Palestinians, look at African nations, also in some parts of Asia. Who had access to vaccines? Who got this in the distribution worldwide? It's a share, and who had to suffer and to pay. So not all people are equal, unfortunately, because the system is unequal, and we are fighting for a world of peace and social justice. Because peace without social justice is not a genuine peace. Thank you.
डॉक्टर जी मेरा सवाल आपको है आपका जो नजरिया है वो प्रति चेंज हो गया वो आप इजराइल के साथ जा रहे हो आपकी जो नेशनल फेडरेशन है उसको क्या उसका क्या नजरिया है
देखिए, जब 1991 में इंडियन गवर्नमेंट रिकॉग्नाइज इसराइल as a independent state, that was done in consultation with the Palestinian partners. Even Yasser Arafat agreed with this hope that India can play much more important role to achieve the total independence of Palestine. With this hope, and it is recorded there. But slowly, of course, if there is a Israeli, the cooperation between Israel and India is growing, we have no problem. But growing in which sector? Defense sector. India is the major country which is buying arms from Israel to give the oxygen to their military industrialist complex. Okay, and Israeli being getting much more money from India, they are killing the people of Palestine. So ultimately, indirectly, our money is being used for a Palestinian blood. But what our government is saying, no, we are giving enough money to build the infrastructure in Palestine. This is true. They are building hospital, they are building school, college, but that is being destroyed also by Israelis. That is also being destroyed by the Israelis. Almost there is everyday quota that you have to kill minimum 10 Palestine in any pretext or any context. So when some two people are being killed in Europe or America, our government is almost very nervous, immediately explain their solidarity and everything. But when day after day the Palestinians are being killed, what is the government say? Nothing. So we said that being a country who always stood for peace and independence, for social justice, and also how to say a relation among the countries on equal footing. Our role towards Palestine and Israel, we do believe that it is not reflecting the mood of the people and historical commitment of our people to the Palestinian liberation.
What is the result of 2 days deliberation?
तो हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ कि देखिए तो नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है, हम लोग एक पॉलिटिकल रिपोर्ट और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रिपोर्ट प्लेस किया कि लास्ट 3 वर्ष हमने क्या किया प्रैक्टिकली। और कॉन्फ्रेंस लास्ट नेक्स्ट ईयर में होने वाला था, लेकिन एक कोविड पीरियड में हम लोग का एक बड़ा पार्ट ऑफ द लीडरशिप वाज हाउ टू से एक्सपायर्ड, सो देयर वाज ए नीड टू रीऑर्गेनाइज एवरीथिंग, इसलिए हम लोग एक कॉन्फ्रेंस को प्रीपोन किया। बट द मेन issue of this conference is because we have also a long history like them. We also born in 1951. Till 1991, APSO was not taking any position against government because the foreign policy itself was very supportive to our cause. But after 1991, many things has changed. Now APSO has to take some stand which is go against the spirit of our constitution, our values for democracy, for human rights, and for also idea of India. Idea of India cannot be, you cannot written by one line. It is so diverse. We said unity in diversity, but this is also being challenged by the present ruling dispensation. तो हम लोग जो बात कर रहा है कि हाउ टू strengthen our organization, bringing more people who are out of our association. क्योंकि Indian people in general, they want peace, they want progress, They never, how to say, take a position to support any unjust cause. तो इसलिए हम लोग बोल रहे हैं दिस इज द हाई टाइम to mobilize the peace against all kind of human rights violation, against terrorism, from international things to national any important events. We are taking the note of it, and we are trying to mobilize different section of the people. For your information, when the peasant struggle was going on, AIPS also expressed its solidarity with the struggle of our farmer community. So that's why we are also supporting our students community who are against this present new education policy. We are supporting working class movement. We are supporting all sections of the people who are fighting for their just causes. And APSO is a unique platform because it is not controlled by any political party, but all major political parties are also inside the APSO. So we do believe when political parties are failing to come together and to raise their raise the issue of people, APSO is a unique platform. From that platform, we can raise our common issues and we can mobilize also the people.
But this doesn't highlight the whole war between Russia and Ukraine.
You see, we had a position, and that position was known to the whole world, including Russians and including Ukrainians, that World Peace Council are taking such position. But we have to understand that we cannot have any space for taking any diplomatic initiative. We can only mobilize the people in defense of peace and to find the appropriate solution, immediate stop of hostilities between the two parts, and to find a just amicable solution. Amicable solution means where Ukraine and Russia has to be agreed, and moreover, where NATO has to stop their move further towards east. So it is a complex problem. It is depend on many other issues. But our problem is that how long Ukrainian and Russian people will sacrifice their valuable life. So we are for peace, but at the same time, we also wanted to expose the role of NATO. It is not a war between Ukraine and Russia, no more. The whole character of the war has changed. What Iraklis try to say, the NATO is sending huge armament. Then America is spending altogether. America and European Union, if you count their support, it is almost reaching $1 trillion. For what? Because NATO want that war should continue, so their military industrial complex will have some order and they can continue on that. Capitalism cannot survive without a war. So everybody understand.
So you have the delegates both from Cuba and the Vietnam, and your delegate from Cuba have mentioned about the U.S. expansionism, but we are also witnessing in the Indo-Pacific region the Chinese aggression, both by the Vietnam and by the India. How the World Peace Council is having taking a stance on the Chinese expansion?
You see, first of all, we don't agree with that formulation. First of all, what is the new geographical connotation? Indo-Pacific. What is this Indo-Pacific? And what is this rule-based global order? There is a United Nations international law. What is this two new thing? You just go and see Google. What is rule-based global? I'm telling you. Let me finish. The rule-based global order means it is being produced in somewhere in United States. We say Asia Pacific region. They say Indo-Pacific region. There is a difference in understanding. And we have a position as a World Peace Council, which our brother Vietnam's also agreed and others, that the South China Sea, the problem should be solved through diplomatic means. And with the centrality of the position of ASEAN countries. So they are discussing all these things. And suddenly we found there is a expansionism. Did Chinese came to capture any of our part? No. There is a problem. We don't deny it about the
Similar is asking is being said by the Modi as well. What you are saying, that the Chinese didn't do any expansionism towards Indian territory. Same has been said by the Indian Prime Minister. You are qualifying his statement.
First of all, we are not in a government. But when Prime Minister says something,
I am just talking about the fact.
no, I am saying not to identify only to Modi. Modi said what in the all-party meeting, and he didn't how to say go further till he has this point. That means something is happening behind the whole thing. Something is happening behind the whole things. Of course, there is a no very warm relation between India and China. Even I am telling you, peoples to peoples relations. Even 2019, 2000 young delegation visited China, and from China also they visited India. So all these things were there. There was a, of course, unfortunate incident take place in at the time in Garwan, and government is moving, and you should understand there are many agreements, and there is a framework within which sometimes political leaders are meeting, sometimes the our how to say security advisor meeting, sometimes our generals are meeting. So just last month there was a meeting while our military is saying that yes, we are moving forward. All our bourgeois press is saying something. And here I also wanted to say that some very important leader standing in parliament is saying BJP is a Beijing Janata Party. All these things are not creating conducive atmosphere for building the necessary friendship between all countries, not only China. China is there, Pakistan is there. Whatever happening, then immediately you take the whole thing in the prism of China and Pakistan. That has to be stopped. Now, if we are a big power, now we are the chairman of G20, many countries were the chairman of the G20. Can you show any countries organize so many activities? Hundreds of meetings are being organized because Modi is the chairman. But it is rotation. He is not got elected. But people are the way they are saying as if they are got elected and everything. So I am saying because Indo-China relation can be sorting out only through government. But what we can
So
do,
as a peace body, what you are
now, we are ready to support any such initiative from both sides. We have a very strong position. I said that you may like China, you may not like China. That is your right, but you cannot ignore China on in all issues. So we are for better relation with India and China.
So, okay.
Okay.